The modular is an amazing machine to get lost in. Patching cables, building custom sequencers, self-playing patches, it's a lot of fun to approach the modular as an abstract piece of equipment. Just start patching and see where the machine takes you. So much fun in fact that it's very easy to forget you can play the modular with a keyboard. And that's a shame, because there's a lot of beauty in that for two main reasons. It's fun to come up with different melodic sequences and ideas when playing rather than programming. And beside that, playing notes invokes a different approach to sound design and sculpting sounds. However, there's a big difference between using a keyboard to trigger a simple voice that was designed to be sequenced and designing a patch specifically to be played with a keyboard. In this video, I go over 4 concepts you can use when making patches for keyboards, starting with the basics and adding complexity as we go along. If you like to support my work or you want to get access to PDF sheets with hundreds of patch ideas I've used in my videos, have a look at my Patreon. You can also support my channel through affiliate links in the video description. But now, let's dive right in. Envelopes are great building blocks for interesting movement, but basic ideas limit your patches. In a simple voice controlled with a keyboard, it's very common to have an envelope open the filter and VCA. This means it controls the brightness and volume of the sound. So naturally, envelopes are often used to recreate the brightness and volume curves of known instruments. For example, a simple gate to create an organ-like response. A fast attack with longer decay to create a plucked string-like response. An ADSR to create a light transient with sustained notes. Or a shape with a lot of attack and decay to create a fade-in, fade-out style pad. And that's very often it. But a good synth isn't another instrument. You can use the possibilities of a modular to create more unique responses. It helps to forget envelope shapes for a second and imagine what you want to happen when you press a key. For example, you might want the sound to create a plucky effect, but also have the sound come back when you hold the key. Maybe you want that effect to happen even with a short key press. Maybe you want long notes when a key is tapped and a riser when a key is held. When the result you want is clear, you can think about what's necessary to create that movement. In most cases, you'll find you can still achieve these effects with classic envelopes. You just might have to add a small creative step. Key functions to have are a module that can mix and attenuate. For example, you can mix a very short plucky envelope with a long attack hold release envelope. When the shapes are combined and used to open a filter and VCA, this creates a plucky and a rising sustained effect. You can combine 2 triggered attack decay envelopes to create a similar shape that happens no matter how long you press a key. You can also achieve a lot of effects by using 2 independent ADSR envelopes, one for the filter and one for the VCA. For example, use an attack hold release shape to open a VCA controlling the volume of a sound, while an inverted ADSR envelope is used to close the filter. This also creates a spike of sound when both the VCA and filter are open. Then the inversed envelope closes the filter, and when a key is held long enough, it opens it again. You can play around with these shapes to create different effects. For example, increasing the sustain on the inversed envelope opening the filter means holding a note will keep the filter closed until you let go of the key. This allows you to play plucked notes as well as create a rise or hold before a rise. If using envelopes like this is new to you, make sure to watch these detailed videos about envelopes I made a while ago. Beyond envelopes, there are more things you can do to add unique movement to your sound. For example, you can add extra movement at the start of a sound. You can add more chaotic movement over time when the note is held longer. And you can change the movement from modulators over time. With a modular, you've got access to more modulation sources than just envelopes. Key functions to have is a VCA to control modulation depth. Here's a voice controlled with the keyboard and ADSR envelope opening the filter. From this basic setup, you can add any kind of extra modulation, and if you want, control the depth of that modulation by sending it through a VCA. For example, trigger a short attack decay envelope to add a burst of LFO modulation to the filter. Or gate a very slow ADSR envelope to add more and more random voltage modulating the filter if you hold a note longer. You can also use an envelope to modulate modulators over time. For example, increase the speed of an LFO when you hold a key. You can add depth modulation to that signal, and so on. On top of that, in modular you often have access to more unique and interesting envelope or modulation shapes than just the classic ADSR envelopes. The Chaos Devices Sadar is a great example in my setup. Just explore what options you have and don't be afraid to try things even if you don't know if it works yet. That's often how great ideas are discovered. It's common to use envelopes to control the brightness and volume of a sound, but you can do much more. In all previous demos, only the filter and VCA were modulated, but with a modular you have access to every parameter with a CV input. That means you can use other things than just the filter to alter the presence of a sound, and you can include building blocks that are not so common in regular synths. There are a million options depending on what modules you have, but let's set up a few examples. Here's a rather classic example with a dual oscillator with low-pass filter voice. It's controlled with a keyboard gating an ADSR envelope opening the filter. To add some evolving character, a slower envelope is gated as well and used to increase the frequency of an LFO modulating the filter. Another copy of that envelope is opening a VCA, allowing a slow smooth random voltage to modulate one of the oscillators, adding subtle oscillator drift when a key is held. Let's take that a step up. Here's an oscillator filter VCA voice with the addition of a stereo delay. A clean copy of the audio signal is used as well. A keyboard is tuning the oscillator and gating an ADSR envelope to open the filter, controlling the presence of the sound. To add texture, a copy of the gate is used to trigger an attack decay envelope opening a VCA, allowing a short burst of oscillator FM from a second untuned oscillator. This adds a bit of interest to the transient of the sound. Finally, another copy of the gate is used with a delayed ADSR, modulating the time and feedback of the delay. The delay is set to a fast speed, adding to the character of the sound when played normal, and set to slow down and build up feedback when a key is held. Here's a voice with wavetable oscillator and stereo distortion. A classic ADSR is used to open the filter, creating a standard keyboard response. A copy of the keyboard's gate is used to gate a delayed envelope. This envelope is modulating two independent LFOs, each modulating the gain of one side of the stereo distortion, creating a nice stereo effect with increased speed when a key is held. Another copy of the second envelope is used to modulate the wave shape of the oscillator, adding additional movement to longer sustained notes. adding manual expression is the final step, and possibly the most exciting part of a playable voice. Velocity is a very powerful function that adds a lot of depth to your sound, just by being able to control the volume of each note. I made a full video about velocity if you'd like to learn more about that, so I'll skip it for now. In this video I use the mod wheel as an example, but you can use other things like pitch wheel or aftertouch and so on. Any manual control that can send a CV signal can be used for these ideas. Again, think about what kind of effect you'd like to achieve. You can do more than just patch the mod wheel to a filter. Instead, think about the manual expression as a macro control that can influence multiple aspects in a patch to shape it. To save a bit of time, let's start from patches used in the previous chapter. Here's the one with modulated stereo delay. In this patch, the mod wheel is used to modulate the decay time of the envelope shaping the FM transient. And the copy of the mod wheel is used to open the filter. These both increase the presence and harshness of the sound. To counterbalance that, another copy of the wheel is sent to an inverter and then modulating the feedback. This means opening the mod wheel will increase brightness and harshness, but decrease the feedback, keeping the voice in balance. At this point we reach the things I was looking for. New sounds that inspire ways to play, and new melodies based on that. This is the exact same patch with a bit of jamming. Here's the patch with wavetable oscillator and stereo distortion. Just using the mod wheel to open the filter already adds a lot of playability. You can also use the mod wheel to morph between different sounds. Here's a similar patch, but this time the audio is sent to a high pass and low pass filter in series. The mod wheel is used to open the low pass filter, adding presence to the sound, but it's also opening the high pass filter, cutting all the lows in the sound to create a different character. In addition, it's opening a VCA, adding tuned frequency modulation to the setup when the wheel is morphing to the high pass sound. Here's the dual oscillator setup with low pass filter from the previous chapter. To add a very powerful mod wheel character change to this setup, the mixer is removed and replaced with a crossfader. The mod wheel is used to set the balance between the two oscillators, sweeping from bass to overtone. On top of that, a copy of the audio is sent to a big stereo reverb, and the mod wheel is used to set the amount of reverb in the mix. It's set to create a dry bass and adding reverb when the mod wheel fades to the overtones. If you'd like to learn more about envelopes or transients, have a look here, and as always, smash that like, subscribe and bell button if you want to see more modular content from me. But that's it for now, thanks for watching and see you next time.